Well, Concern Sierra Leone is an organization that comprises Sierra Leoneans in the United States, Canada, and Australia. Amongst its aims, the organization promotes legal aid for those people whose human rights have been violated. Whereas the election draws closer, Concern Sierra Leone is also planning to host a presidential debate. Well, Jesmed Suma is a member of Concern Sierra Leone. Welcome to the program, Mr. Suma.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Give us a background to Concern Sierra Leone.
Concern Sierra Leone is a civil rights organization comprising of Sierra Leoneans in different parts of the world, US, Europe, Australia, and in Sierra Leone here. The organization came about when we realized that the president's continuous abuse of the constitution of the country was not being challenged. So we decided that since the constitution, it is the supreme law of the land that is above every branch of government, we thought it wise that we should stand up and protect the constitution, and that became blatant when he decided to fire the vice president, Sam Sumana, which in our opinion and the opinion of all legal luminaries, including
all legal luminaries,
most legal luminaries, including one of the architects of our constitution, Dr. Blai Conte, we all made the point that it is unconstitutional.
But the Supreme Court ruled.
That's the key.
Gave its ruling, and that the ruling went in favor of the president.
That is the key. You see, for issues of that nature to be upheld and protected in terms of the constitution, you need people with ethical and moral values who understands the ethics relating to some of those laws. And when laws are enacted, particularly the constitution of a country, the judges are expected to interpret the intent and motive of the architect of that law. And in most cases, they try to make the best judgment based on the wording of the law itself. And in the case of the Constitution of Sierra Leone, we are lucky to have one of the architects. So in order to try to interpret that law, I believe the best person to do that is one of the architects, because they know the intent, even if you try to misunderstand their wording. And he wrote an opinion, and nobody can doubt his legal position in the world in terms of law.
I think
so. In that case,
we can only label that on that more because the Supreme Court had given its ruling, and that ruling, as far as we are concerned, for now is final. Nobody challenges the ruling of the Supreme Court. That's the highest court in the land.
It's being challenged now by the
internally nobody challenges the ruling of the Supreme Court.
Well, it's because we don't have an opposition government, an opposition party in the country. The opposition parties that exist are dormant.
No, but I mean, once Supreme Court gives a ruling, who else in the country, which courts again is above the Supreme Court?
That's why you have the ECOWAS court. The ECOWAS court is above the national court.
No, that is open to debate and interpretation. Sierra Leone is a sovereign state, and when you look at the sovereignty of Sierra Leone, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land.
Absolutely.
So no other court overturns a ruling that has been given by the Supreme Court of a land.
But that same Sierra Leone government, that is an independent entity, can sign treaties, and when they sign treaties, they are obligated to respect those treaties. And according to the communique or the alliance that they have under ECOWAS, the ECOWAS court supersedes decisions, can overrule the decisions of the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone.
Okay. Well, now let's go further. What else does your organization do? Because there was a time that you staged a demonstration in the United Nations where our president went there to attend the UN General Assembly, and you guys staged a demonstration that people said you embarrassed the president.
It's because they lack the understanding of how the democratic process operates. We did not embarrass the president. The president embarrassed himself and embarrassed the country by subjecting the nation to the ridicule of the world for him to abuse our constitution. But our demonstration was not only centered on protecting our sacred constitution, but also the issue of transparency and accountability, which is lacking within this government. There's so many auditor reports reveals that monies were embezzled, minimum of $4 to $5 million, when monies that were donated to this government and monies that were taken out of the national treasury in the fight of Ebola, none of those were accounted for. So our demonstration was centered around not only protecting the constitution, but also with respect to
we have the Auditor General's report, and the report did come out with those who misappropriated certain monies, and they were summoned in Parliament, and the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament did come out with this recommendation, and some people are now being investigated by the Anti-Corruption Commission. So isn't that a step, a beginning in terms of questioning those who allegedly squandered money?
How long has that been done? How long since that investigation was launched, or since the so-called Parliament? Because the Parliament itself, there are members within the House of Parliament. In fact, the entire House of Parliament, over 80 or 90% of them, I can say, are also guilty and part and parcel of that embezzlement.
No, so Mr. Suleiman, you're on national television. Yes. That's a very strong allegation.
So it is an allegation that we're going to stand by. Yes, they have to give account of some of the Ebola monies, because let me give you an example. When a medical crisis took place at Ebola, you expect a government that is reasonable, responsive and responsible to their people to divert resources to the medical sectors so that they can be able to tackle the medical problem.
Isn't that what the government did?
No, that's not what they did.
Mr. Suma, when Ebola broke out, the initial funds that were expended came solely from the government of Sierra. It was later that donors came in and helped. Yeah, the initial funds were disbursed by the government.
Yes, well, I'm talking specifically to that, some of those initial funds. The government, instead of supporting the nurses, the doctors, and the people that are in the field trying to tackle the medical response, they dished out money to politicians. You don't politicizing the lives of our people. That's an insult. Politicizing it by giving monies to their cronies, using as a means to enrich themselves in the name of trying to go. How can they fight Ebola?
Are you referring to the social mobilization?
So much so, yes.
No, but the Ebola fight, it was not everything that needed to be fought medically. You need social issue, you need social mobilization. Maybe you are not in town, but you only needed to be here and see the role that politicians from all political parties played, canvassing people, telling them about Ebola messages. I mean, that was social mobilization. Religious leaders came on board. Not everything was medically fought.
But that is true. That aspect of it.
So do you need politicians to do that, and social mobilizers?
Well, realistically speaking, you cannot do that at the expense of nurses and doctors. That's the key. We're not saying the social mobilization should not be there, but this is a medical crisis. So the paramount focus should be on medical approach to solve the problem. But if you starve the nurses, starve the doctors...
There are nurses starved?
Yeah, they were. There were nurses dying in the field who were not being paid. Why do you think they demonstrated? There were grave diggers who were being starved of funds, and those monies were diverted to politicians.
No, but Mr. Suma, these allegations that you are making, were you in Sierra Leone by then when Ebola was raging? Were you in town?
I was not in town, but I was in the heart and bit of it, every aspect of it, in trying to ensure that funding and assistance is diverted to Sierra Leone and the region in general.
I mean, for instance, those who were in the burial teams had their pay. I think every fortnight or every week, there was hardly a time that they were not paid.
Well, let me ask you this: was there a time when they demonstrated?
They demonstrated not because their monies were not paid to them. I mean, according to the NAC boss by then, because of some difficulties that their monies did not come on time. But that doesn't mean that they were not paid.
But that's part of the problem. Why should their money not come in time? Why will politicians receive money on time, and they who are in the field putting their lives on the line, risking their lives to protect Sierra Leoneans? Why were they money when money is not coming on time? Why did they have to wait until they demonstrate for their monies to be released to them? And probably if they had not demonstrated, they wouldn't have had the money. If they did have the money, I'm not too sure about that even.
Have you met with them?
Who?
Those guys who were part of the burial teams?
No, I've not met with them.
Why?
Well, I just came a few days ago, so I have a lot of...
So, I mean, what is the composition of your organization concerned Sierra Leone?
It's comprised of Sierra Leoneans of all walks of life. People that have this country at heart, patriots that wants to see that they fill the vacuum of leadership that exists in the country. Of course, Sierra Leone is it's a great country. God has endowed us with everything from natural resources to human capital. But we lack the leadership to tap into those creative minds so that we can transform and fix the ills of our nation.
Okay. Well, the program is Podium, coming to you from Freetown. He is Jesmed Suma, a member of Concern Sierra Leone. And the program is Podium, coming to you from Freetown. Send your messages to the number 088373504, 088373504. We're back with the program Podium, which is coming to you from Freetown with me, Asim Yuba. Mr. Suma, you've had the text messages. Maybe we'll not have time to go to respond to all of them. But yeah, you as election draws closer, your organization is planning to organize a debate, right?
Yes, we also, as part of the agenda for 2017, we are trying to organize a debate between the flag bearers of different political parties, and we're working the modalities of how to get that done, perhaps in Sierra Leone here, and also, if possible, outside Sierra Leone.
So you mean you will take whoever emerges as flag bearer, as flag bearers from the political view, you take them to the United States or the United Kingdom, or where?
Well, no, the primary focus is here. We're going to find a way to sponsor a debate here in Sierra Leone,
okay.
And if possible, depending upon how the situation goes, we might also consider inviting them to the state.
But many times people say you guys from the diaspora, you only use Facebook and WhatsApp to shout, but I mean you hardly come to the ground and feel the pain that the people are feeling. Or people say sometimes some guys have political agenda. Once elections are coming, they are now here to see how they also could make some influence in the political landscape.
Well, it's because people that say that usually come from the ruling party, who are geared towards trying to paint a false rosy picture of the state of the country. But those who understand the economics of the Sierra Leone will tell you that part of what sustains the economy of this country comes from monies that we transmit from abroad. In addition to that, most of the new businesses that have been established are coming from Sierra Leoneans that live abroad and come and establish those businesses. And there's so much Sierra Leoneans are doing to contribute to sustaining the economy of this country, and also hold the feet of government to fire, because unfortunately there is no opposition to do that. So the onus is left upon us.
So are you saying SLP is not an effective opposition?
Oh, of course it's not an effective opposition. SLP is a dead party. It's just live on life support.
Okay. Now you are also seeing how you could support giving people legal aid.
Yes, part of the agenda of the concerned Sierra Leoneans is to, as I mentioned earlier, is to protect the constitution and the civil liberty of our people. So we're also trying to provide legal aid for victims of human rights and civil rights abuse, including providing support for their families, because sometimes when they are detained, unlawfully detained in most cases, their families are left to wander on their own, especially if the person is the breadwinner of the family. In addition to that, we also want to involve in the community. We have in the executive of CSL, it's more or less a combination of leaders. We have people that have proven record of providing leadership not only in different institutions but also in different organizations, ranging from Yafande, who is the deputy executive director. You have Abdul Kabar, who is the secretary general. We have Dr. Siaf Fombai, who is the spokesperson for CSL. We have I can't remember all the names right now.
Do you guys have a political agenda?
No, there's nothing associated with the activities of
because
CSL.
we've seen, for instance, movements starting out and later it's metamorphosed to a political party.
This one is never going to be metamorphosed, going to be developed or converted into a political party.
Okay.
Because the essence of CSL is to hold the feet of government, irrespective of which political party is in office.
Okay. Well, now I go for more message and say I think what Mr. Suma is doing now indicates patriotism. Keep it up, coming from Sir Joe. Says it's a pity that we can't investigate corruption or even give hearing to corruption issues. Simple reason is just that we are all lazy and like the free things come our ways. It's a pity we can't fix things and write and anticipate good things to come our ways. So says Suma, you should have come to help the fight against Ebola, or better still show us what you have done in Sierra Leone. That message keeps coming in, Mr. Suma. As we are rounding up now, you've had the text message. What will you be embarking on from now on to 2018 shortly?
Well, as I said earlier, our organization is going to continue to focus on protecting those who are going to be victims of human rights abuse, especially when this government continues to be in power until 2018 when they expire. And then the next one we're going to focus on is to try to get involved in the communities so that we'll be able to.
If the government is re-elected,
Of course, if he's re-elected, but I doubt it. But in any case, that's left to the politicians.
That's an opinion.
That's my opinion, but that's left to the politicians.
And that's a strong opinion too.
Yes, it is a strong
from a civil
opinion.
society person.
Absolutely, it's a civil, because this government have been consistently abusing the rights of our people. So that's the angle we are coming from. It has nothing to do with their politics. It has everything to do with their failure to protect the constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. But in any case, we're going to try to be involved in the communities, educating them about what their constitutional rights are, educating them about the laws, educating them about how they should react.
Why are you only doing it now? You didn't do it for the past 5 years or 6 years. Why now?
They're always beginning to something.
Okay, Honorable Fali, as we are running up now.